want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it. I'm just talking. 50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You better shut up. I will buy your masters.
Rick Ross just pulled one of the slickest moves the game's seen. Straight finessed Big Meech like a pawn in a $120 million setup. And guess what? 50 Cent's out here laughing like it's a whole stand-up show. The craziest part, the streets been calling this one. Everybody saw that hustle forming long before it hit. Everybody except Meech himself. Ross slid in with that smooth talker energy, throwing promises of movie deals, luxury projects, and boss moves like confetti. Next thing you know, poof! He ghosted, left Meech and his son out here looking lost while he's still dining on 5-star steaks and flexing private jets on Instagram. That's foul, man. Ross really spun the block and turned a street legend into a marketing stunt. If you've been paying attention, the setup didn't start overnight. When Big Meech finally stepped out of prison last October, the streets were lit. Fans thought it was time for an epic comeback. The man built BMF from nothing, so everyone expected his next play to be something world-shaking. But out of nowhere, Ross starts running his mouth loud, talking about a $120 million film deal, endless money, and power moves like he's the plug to Hollywood itself. On paper, it looked perfect, like Meech was finally about to collect off his own empire. But when the smoke cleared, nothing. No contract, no cash, no camera lights, just talk. Ross used the Meech name like a trophy, a shiny distraction to throw jabs at his longtime rival, 50 Cent. And let's be real, the streets never bought it. Folks been side-eyeing Ross from day one, whispering that those big projects were just clout bait, because everybody knew who was really working behind the scenes. 50 Cent was the one cutting checks for Lil Meech's acting classes, producing the BMF show, and building real Hollywood connections. Ross? He just talked loud and moved shady. 50 actually put money and loyalty on the table, turned a name into a legacy. But Meech, he still kept gravitating toward Ross, ignoring the one man who really had his back. That choice hit the industry hard, left people shaking their heads. Even Tony Yayo called it how it is. No filter, no fake love. 50 been riding with Lil Meech since day one. That's solid truth right there, no debate. Now the streets are loud with this one. Word is Big Meech finally feeling that pressure heavy. The man's frustrated, his bag looking light, and it's hitting him now. Ross never linked out of love, just out of pettiness. He used Meech as a prop, a pawn in his personal war against 50 Cent. Not a friend move, not a power alliance, just smoke and mirrors for clout. And now the image flipped. Instead of Meech being seen as the boss returning to reclaim his throne, he's looking like a side character in another man's ego fight. That's when 50 said enough and pulled out his favorite weapon, humiliation with precision. 50 fired back with that classic savage humor, ruthless but funny at the same time. He joked that Ross told Lil Meech to give him his pop's prison address so he could send him some Wingstop wings. But that punchline wasn't just comedy, it was strategy. 50 was really saying, Ross feeding y'all crumbs while pretending to serve steak. That hit deep, because everybody knew the truth hiding under the laughter. The message was loud. Ross out here using Meech for headlines, not helping him win in real life. Then things got messy. Fast. 50 took it to a whole new level, dropping straight-up bombshells about Lil Meech's personal life. He claimed he had to send the kid to rehab himself, cause dude was showing up to BMF sets out of it, throwing up during weapons drills, losing focus completely. Then came the wildest part, the Whippet story. 50 laughed, saying he had to Google what whippets even were, like, what's this man doing to himself? Beneath the jokes, though, he was setting the stage, painting himself as the only one acting like family, trying to save Lil Meech from self-destruction while his pops and Ross hyped him up on the same behavior that was breaking him down. 50 played the big brother role, making Ross and Big Meech look like two guys watching a crash for entertainment instead of helping stop it. And the disrespect didn't stop there.
Ricky Rose, the time has come. Meech on. February 13th, get your tickets right now. It's going down. We know Florida gonna be there. Miami gonna be there. The legend himself gonna be in the building, making history. Meech, who else coming?
The whole nation. Detroit, St. Louis, California, everybody. Atlanta, Georgia, ATL, stand up.
Woo. We're gonna make history. Get your tickets right now.
Even after everything 50 did, helping, defending, protecting his brand, Lil Meech still popped back out with Ross. Bottles, clubs, smiles, the whole fake peace act for the cameras. The internet couldn't handle it. They went off. How you stand next to the dude who used you and ghost the one who saved you? That question started trending for days. The Big Meech legacy started taking hits online. Fans saying that Bon Ross bragged about fell apart quicker than Ross's own album rollouts. Then Michael Rainey Jr., 50's power star, stepped into the mix. He didn't bite his tongue one bit, saying straight up he don't feel bad for neither Lil Meech nor Big Meech. His exact words hit hard. Grown men should have seen that scam from a mile away. That clip went viral instantly. Fans debating, memes flying, everybody picking sides. Once 50 saw it, he jumped right in, doubling down and co-signing Rainey's take heavy. He stamped the message clear as day. The Meech camp out here looking weak and confused, while 50 sitting back collecting wins and proving who really runs this game. Let's keep it 100. Rick Ross ditching people when things get hot ain't nothing new. That move's part of his playbook. Word around the block says this man's been moving grimy like that for years. Allegedly, he pulled the same slick stunt with his own crew up in Canada. Dipped right before his boys got jumped, then popped back acting like it was some loyalty test. That's ice cold, but that's just Ross's pattern. The man been playing snake chess while pretending it's business strategy. Always 10 steps ahead on the scams, never there when it's time to stand up. Then Whack 100 came in and let it rip. Full-blown expose mode. He called Ross the real villain in this whole situation. Said flat out Ross was never down for Big Meech, just using him as a pawn to keep firing shots at 50 Cent from a safe distance. And honestly, that lines up perfectly. Cause if Ross really wanted to help Meech get his footing back, he would have done it quiet. Handled business behind closed doors, no cameras, no flex. But nah, Ross had to turn it into a circus. All clout, no code, all flash, no foundation. He wanted the lights on him, not on Meech. That's what made the streets stop believing the boss act. It was too loud to be loyal. Ross never moved with heart. He moved for headlines. He played that whole helping Meech story like a marketing rollout, hyping it up to build his own name again. He fed Meech promises of million-dollar film deals, money towers, and a rebirth of the BMF brand, but it was all smoke. Behind the scenes, nothing real was moving. He had Meech believing he was building a new legacy, but what he was really doing was running another PR hustle. Ross paraded Meech around like a shiny prop just to one-up 50, to look like he had the streets on lock. And when it all collapsed, he vanished, like he always does. Ghosted Meech completely. No follow-up, no help, no loyalty check, just silence. The hype cooled off overnight, and reality hit hard. Fans realized what was up. Ross only sticks around when it benefits him. Once the buzz fades, so does he. Now word on the block says Ross already plotting his next play, leaving the whole Meech situation in the dust. Another pawn off the board, another ego move complete. The boss image might still shine online, but the streets, they've seen the pattern too many times to fall for that again. Now with all this chaos spilling over, 50 Cent saw the opening. And you know he wasn't about to let that slide. He came swinging hard, flipping the whole drama into pure entertainment for the fans. Every post, every caption, direct hits aimed at Ross and that fake alliance they tried to sell to the world. 50 started clowning Ross heavy online, dropping throwback clips, subtle jabs, and even hinting that Ross been exploiting real street legends for years just to look official. The internet went wild. Every meme, every reel, every TikTok edit turned into gold. Fans couldn't stop laughing, but behind the humor, the tension was real. Word is, 50 felt deeply betrayed after everything he poured into Lil Meech's career. That loyalty should have been automatic. He made the BMF brand global, put Lil Meech in the spotlight, gave him credibility, but instead of gratitude, he got shade. So 50 switched gears, turned that pain into fire, and went public with everything. He dropped that cold line. I tried to help the kid, but the same ones I helped turned around and bit my hand. That bar hit like a warning shot, and it echoed everywhere. Ross, on the other hand, tried to play it cool, posting luxury cars, private jets, and mansion views like nothing could touch him. But insiders say the pressure was building. Behind all that boss talk, brands started backing off. PR teams went silent, and industry folks began keeping distance. Cause once 50 gets involved, it's never light work. Everyone in Hollywood knows when he fires shots, somebody's image is catching flames. Then came the twist. 50 didn't just troll this time. He came with receipts. He started leaking tea straight from the BMF set, claiming they had to reshoot scenes because Lil Meech couldn't stay focused. He painted the picture clear. Ross wasn't mentoring nobody. He was just selling a fantasy while 50 was the one doing the real work behind the curtain. It wasn't just beef anymore. It was a straight-up expose.
Lil Meech, I don't feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the f I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. What you asking for my sympathy for? You be alright.
Fans instantly split in half. One side backing 50 heavy, saying he's the only one brave enough to tell the truth, and the other side saying he went too far, dragging private business into the spotlight. But once the mess hit social media, it was out of control. Every repost, every tweet turned into another headline, another viral clip, and stuck in the middle of it all, Lil Meech, looking more lost than ever. Ross had gone ghost. 50 was on a full-blown rampage, and the fans didn't know who to believe anymore. One side had proof, the other had excuses. And what started as a comeback dream turned into public embarrassment faster than anyone could blink. By this point, the whole feud had turned into a full-blown circus. 50 Cent on one side, Rick Ross on the other, and poor Lil Meech trapped dead center in the chaos. Fans were lining up like it was the 2000s all over again, picking teams like it was another rap war reboot. But underneath all the jokes and memes, people started asking the real question: where was Big Meech in all this madness? Turns out, even behind bars, the man had his eyes on everything and he wasn't feeling it at all. Word around the inner circle says Big Meech was tight, embarrassed even, watching his name get dragged through the mud over fake deals, fake loyalty, and straight internet clownery. For years, he'd been trying to rebuild the BMF name into something clean, something bigger than the streets, and now it was being tossed around for clicks and ego trips. That's not how a legacy's supposed to go down. That's when the whispers started flying. Meech allegedly began cutting ties quietly behind the scenes. No more fake partnerships, no more Hollywood illusions. Insiders say he saw through Ross's whole act, realizing that Ross only cared about what the Meech brand could do for him, not for the actual family. That realization stung, especially after all those boss loyalty speeches Ross had been preaching for years. Meanwhile, 50 Cent was still applying pressure non-stop, dropping cryptic messages like, "Real ones move in silence. Clout chasers talk too much." The timing was perfect, and fans instantly knew it was a jab straight at Ross. Every time 50 posted, the internet exploded again. Memes, edits, debates, all tearing into Ross. Crazy part? 50 was out here defending the BMF name harder than some of the folks who carried it by blood. And that made the betrayal hit even deeper. Then came the knockout blow. Insiders started leaking that Ross's supposed $120 million film deal never even existed. No paperwork, no backers, no studios, nothing. Just smoke and social media hype. He allegedly used the whole narrative just to get trending again, all while Lil Meech became the scapegoat, catching the internet's heat. Even Ross's own supporters started switching sides, saying he crossed the line by using a real legend's name for clout and competition. By this point, 50 had already dropped enough receipts to bury the illusion completely. Screenshots, throwbacks, even old interviews that made Ross's story crumble piece by piece. The glamorous partnership that once looked like power now looked like pure manipulation, a setup wrapped in success talk. And the streets, they stamped it with no hesitation. Ross didn't build with Meech, he played him. The empire Big Meech built from the ground up was now tangled in a mess of pride, betrayal, and straight-up lies. And everybody could see this story was far from finished. Once the dust started settling, it was clear who took the biggest hit: Lil Meech. His image went from rising star to question mark overnight. Fans who once saw him as the next powerhouse carrying his father's name started wondering if he could even hold his own. The same kid who brought the BMF legacy to TV screens was now being seen as reckless, lost, and too easily influenced. The harsh truth, he had two heavyweights in his corner, one who tried to guide him like family and another who used him like a pawn, and he sided with the wrong one. The industry started whispering heavy. Executives were saying Lil Meech might have just burned the bridges that could have built his whole career. Word spread fast that major networks began backing off, scared the drama could turn legal if it kept spinning out. And when 50 Cent's name's in the mix, people know it ain't just jokes. Every caption, every post, every funny shot got a meaning behind it. Meanwhile, Ross tried to rewrite the story, posting his usual fake deep captions about growth, loyalty, and cutting off snakes, like he wasn't the one doing the slithering. But the fans weren't fooled. The comments were ruthless. Clown emojis everywhere and replies like, "You scammed the legend and stop using Meech's name for fame." The internet don't forget. And this time, they were standing with 50 loud and proud. To make it worse, insiders say Lil Meech started feeling that isolation heavy, realizing too late that the people around him weren't solid no more. He went from being the face of BMF to a background story in his own bloodline. That's a hard fall to stomach, especially when Ross, the same man who hyped him up, went ghost the second things got messy. Meanwhile, 50 kept applying pressure like only he can, sliding in with shady one-liners and that classic smirk, dropping gems like "Karma always comes quick when you move foul." Fans were eating it up, calling him Petty Jackson all over social media, laughing but also giving props, because even the haters had to admit every single move 50 made was surgical. He wasn't just trolling for clout, he was taking back control of the story, one post at a time. By this point, the bigger picture was crystal clear. What started as a flashy $120 million dream deal had crashed and burned into one of the wildest PR disasters the game's seen in years. Ross came out looking manipulative. Lil Meech looked lost in the sauce. And 50 Cent, he looked like the only one who saw it all coming from day one. The empire that was supposed to rise stronger after Big Meech's release had turned into a battlefield of lies, ego, and betrayal. And now, nobody knew how to clean it up. Even when Meech's long-awaited Welcome Home benefit show got mysteriously canceled, fingers pointed straight at 50. But the twist? He had nothing to do with it. Word on the block says Rick Ross was the one moving shady behind the curtains, sabotaging the whole event so Meech wouldn't steal the spotlight. He wanted Meech quiet, sidelined, while he played hero for the cameras, posing like he was the one keeping the BMF name alive. That's not brotherhood. That's a setup dressed like support. It's wild because it's starting to look like Meech traded loyalty for a little bit of fake fame, and now it's blowing up right in his face. Instead of rebuilding his family's name, Meech walked straight into a mess that dragged his legacy down. Fans who once called him a real one started flipping, clowning him online like he was just another lost celebrity kid. And to make it worse, Meech tried clapping back, calling 50 Cent an internet gangster, saying he just trolls from behind his phone. But come on, nobody bought that. The streets could see the desperation a mile away. Once 50 labels you fake, that stamp sticks like glue. It wasn't trolling anymore, it was a statement, and Meech couldn't spin his way out of it. When you look closer, the pattern repeats itself like clockwork. Ross been pulling this same trick since forever, dressing up manipulation as mentorship, using real names to fuel his fake boss image. The same playbook he ran on Big Meech, he already ran on the real Rick Ross, the OG drug kingpin from the streets. The rapper straight up built his whole career off that man's name while the real Ross was still locked up. That wasn't homage, that was identity theft with a beat behind it. And when the real Rick Ross came home, he wasted no time exposing him, even taking legal action for using his name and story without permission. That lawsuit alone told the world everything. This rapper Ross would do anything to look powerful, even if it meant building an empire on someone else's blood, sweat, and history. It's wild how full circle it came, cause now, decades later, he's doing the same thing again, using Big Meech's legacy to boost his own image while leaving another man's family to clean up the fallout. Ross pulled the same slick move with Larry Hoover, used the man's name, quoted his legacy in songs, and cashed in heavy while the real one sat locked up. Same blueprint, different legend. When you line up all the pieces, the pattern screams loud. Rick Ross been feeding off other men's stories for years. From the real Rick Ross to Larry Hoover and now Big Meech, it's all the same play dressed in new packaging. Truth is, guys like that don't change. They just find new names to profit off. No surprise here. 50 Cent called it from the jump. Said he never respected Ross as a man. And now the whole culture's starting to see exactly why. The streets been nodding in agreement, watching this pattern unfold like a rerun. And the internet, oh, they went wild with it. One fan straight up said, Rick Ross is a fraud. Another dropped, Ross straight messed him up. Comments kept flooding in, roasting him nonstop. Meme pages, gossip blogs, and forums all echoing the same vibe. Folks are calling it how they see it, and Ross's boss image looking faker by the day. The story keeps spinning, and each new detail makes him look even more calculated. So at the end of the day, the question's loud and clear. Is Ross just running his same old game, or did he really leave Big Meech hanging out to dry? Did Meech mistake clout for loyalty, or did he just get straight up played? Because from the outside looking in, it's hard to tell who's really winning anymore. The streets got opinions, the fans got receipts, and this saga, it's nowhere near done. So if you've been locked in on this whole Ross Meech mess, smash that like button, hit subscribe for more wild breakdowns, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think took the biggest L, Ross, Meech, or both? Share it up, and I'll catch you on the next one.